Live from John Ryan Stadium in Metairie, it's the championship game of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. Tonight, defending league champion and Brother Martin-based K's for Kids faces Jesuit-based Retif Oil for the Crescent City Sports League title. And a pleasant good evening to you. Ken Trahan on a warm but pleasant evening in Metairie, joined by the Crescent City Sports crew. Jude Young and Lenny Van Gilder with us.
Staff meeting.
A staff meeting, the Brain Trust, and we got the dress code correct. And all of that's great. And now we're all dressed up with somewhere to go because we're hoping for a really good game, which we expect tonight. Ironically, did not have two very good games in the semifinals, even though you had four very good teams. And we're hoping that tonight turns out to be that game. And why not? You've got a team in Brother Martin-based K's for Kids coming off of making the state finals in prep this year in Select Division 1 and has done nothing but win 10 games out of 10 games played in the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. And you've got Jesuit-based Retif Oil that went to the quarterfinals of this year in Select Division 1. That's 12-1 on the summer. So, Lenny, you were here last night. You saw these two teams, obviously very good. And I think it's safe to say now that they were the two best teams in the league, and they're here playing for the championship.
And look, there were two different games last night. Obviously, the first semifinal, you had a rain delay of almost an hour, and it was a 4-2 game going into the last inning, and in K's for Kids broke it open with 5 in the 7th to give them some cushion. But, the second game totally different when Retif Oil scored 9 runs on just 2 hits in the bottom of the first, and talking to both coaches after the games yesterday, and I mean, you could, obviously you sense satisfaction in wins, but the way they went about it, and, these teams, obviously they know how to win. These are programs that have been very successful over the years. Their young men know how to play winning baseball, and whatever it is that presents itself to you is what you've got to deal with, and that's what happened last night.
Jude, great to have you with us. And, of course, these two programs are those programs, so to speak. Brother Martin's won 2 prep state championships, but Jesuit leads Louisiana state championships on the high school level with 22. Most recently won in 2023. And as I mentioned, Brother Martin went to the state championship series this past year. Aside from that, as you know, and I know, and Lenny knows, these are two spirited rivals, aren't they?
Oh, there's no doubt, and the rivalry's only gotten stronger across all sports as the years have gone along. A lot of the kids on these teams will probably tell you, and the coaches as well, and in different sports for both schools, that it's the biggest rivalry. It's certainly passionate and heated, so to have this as our 4th championship game is exciting, particularly with K's for Kids going for their 2nd straight championship, which would be awfully impressive considering we had a record 21 programs participating in this league this year, and that's a credit to Frank Cazzo's involvement, the head coach, of course, at Archbishop Rummel, and what you two have done to be able to help grow this league over the years. I can't say enough about how impressive it is.
Oh, Frank's sitting down here eating popcorn, and he didn't offer us any, which is pretty ridiculous.
He just didn't want to work tonight. He wanted to watch the championship game, apparently.
I guess. What are you going to do?
He's got to change that script here.
Pretty much.
He keeps doing that.
He is. Well, Jude, somebody's going to be the first 2-time champion after tonight's game when you look at the history of our league here entering year number 4, because Retif Oil won the first championship and K's for Kids won last year.
And obviously that thriller in year 1 back in 2022, going 9 innings, the 8-7 Retif Oil win was a special one to sort of set the marker for our league, and we've had pretty good championship games since then, except last year with the dominant effort by K's for Kid in the final, and we played it over at Archbishop Shaw.
And here's what we found out in those first couple especially, is just, while we talked about this a little bit last night, this at its core is a developmental league. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity for these coaches to get at-bats, to get innings. For players, they want to see what they're going to be able to do next year. But at the end of the day, when you get to this point, these two teams want to win tonight. They didn't come out here to take home the second place trophy. They want to take home that championship trophy this evening. You're going to come out and go through an entire summer playing. You want to come out and come away with a W here this evening and win a title.
A lot of players on the field tonight are going to be in similar situations next year, trying to win a district title, trying to win a big playoff series. So, again, developmental league, you don't get experience like this without a league like this existing with the postseason.
Right. I remember Ryan Jensen, the Lutcher coach, last year talking about the young man, and he ran out on the mound for the championship game 2 years ago, and that is when he learned that he could trust that guy in a big spot, and he ended up pitching in the state championship game for him last year when he won. So that, again, it's developmental, but it's providing some opportunities in some big situations, and tonight is one of those.
Well, these two teams played earlier this season back on June 18th right here at John Ryan Stadium, and Brother Martin-based Case for Kids handed Jesuit-based Retif Oil its only loss of the summer, 4-2. And Drake Amity, who's on the mound for Case for Kids tonight, got the save in that game, going 2 1/3 innings, allowing 1 run on 4 hits with 2 walks and 2 strikeouts. So he has experience facing this team. Of course, these teams play during the course of the prep season as well. Awards to present following the game today, and Jude and Lenny will take care of those duties. Let's give you the starting lineups because they're being exchanged at home plate as we speak. First of all, for Brother Martin-based Case for Kids, Chanano on the field under the direction of Jeff Lupo. Leading off at shortstop is Cam Keller, batting second in center field. Brady McCluskey hitting third at third base, Bronson Lamont. Cleanup hitter, first baseman, Colton Elliott. Batting fifth and catching is Tyler Duran. Hitting sixth in left field, Luke Gabb. Batting seventh, the DH, Justin Morgan. Hitting eighth in right field, Luca Catanzaro. Batting ninth and pitching will be Drake Amity, and playing second base and not batting is Kai Ullman. Top three, Keller, McCluskey, Lamont. Middle three, Elliott, Duran, and Gabb. Bottom three, Morgan, Catanzaro, and Amity. Ullman at second. For home team, Retif Oil, based at Jesuit under Kenny Goodlett, 12-1. In the summer, leading off in left field is Griffin Gendron. Derek DeLatte is at second base, hitting second, with Michael Brothers in center field, batting third. Joe Bosco, the cleanup hitter, is the first baseman. Marshall Sirio, the shortstop, bats fifth. Gavin Palmisano in right field hits sixth. It's Austin Guidry, the catcher, hitting seventh. Jackson Dugan at third base hits eighth. And the DH batting ninth is Jace DeLatte. It's Gendron, DeLatte, Brothers, Bosco, Sirio, Palmisano, Guidry, Dugan, and DeLatte. Drake Amity on the mound for Jesuit-based Retif Oil. Sunny skies, temperature 92, and hopefully dropping a tad or two, and the crowd is forming. Had some tailgating going on a couple hours before the game. Three-man umpiring crew, and of course we'll have multiple cameras for you here this evening, and we look forward to bringing it to you here this evening. This big ballpark, which very seldom yields home runs, it's not likely to do so tonight. But when you look at the numbers, guys, you see two teams that really have the whole package. Jesuit batting .369 coming in. Brother Martin batting .377 coming in, or 338, I should say, coming in. And then the ERAs, though, equally as impressive. Team ERA 1.98 for Case for Kids, 1.40 for Retif Oil. That would spell complete teams.
I'm also going to remind you later in the game, but I'll let you
and
know
obviously,
now,
when you look at a situation like this, what we saw last night is the pitching staffs that didn't have success weren't able to throw strikes. These pitching staffs have been able to do that throughout league play. And in a pitcher-friendly ballpark like we have here at John Ryan, it certainly would behoove both of these starters to get their team off to the right start, unlike a couple of starters struggling last night.
Yeah, and look, what did we see last night? We saw the visiting team get on top in the top of the first, and for Case for Kids, it worked.
All during the prep season and all summer, and he just didn't have it last night. And of course, Brennan Ramon had been unhittable. He just came off of a perfect game, and he went out last night. He couldn't get it out. So it just goes to show you, it's a little bit of a different animal. The Crusaders are going to be in their white look tonight, and they'll have the crimson and old gold highlights with the caps that are two-tone, and Retif Oil will be in their royal blue tops, pinstripe pants, royal blue caps.
Batting second.
So a distinct, different look here tonight. The lights and the darks, if you will. Starters are being introduced on the baselines as we speak. Then we'll have our national anthem, followed by the start of this game, which will be at this stage. Since we've just hit the top of the hour, along with Jude Young and Lenny Van Gilder, Ken Trahan with you. Glad you're with us for year 4 championship game of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. And once again, we want to salute all 21 schools that participated this season. It was a record number of schools. 19 participated on the junior varsity level as well.
Jackson Dugan. Batting ninth, the designated
Get the national anthem coming up here in just a moment, Ken, but I think what you see a nice crowd settling in. They're still coming in. That tells you a lot about just how important this is. When these, not only the fact that you got good baseball, when these two schools get together, it could be tiddlywinks, and it matters.
For the playing of our national anthem.
Now the playing of the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed, and the twilight that's gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the rain so is fading, and the rock is regular of our birth. See that came through the night, and I cried.
Ken Trahan with Lenny Van Gilder. Jude Young here from John Ryan Stadium, set for the championship game of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. Updating the weather at 6 o'clock. Well, it hasn't changed. 92 degrees still. The relative humidity is only listed at 60%. Somehow I'm not buying that. The wind is out of the south at 4. Whatever wind there is, it's blowing out slightly, but not going to do a whole lot of damage to helping balls hit here this evening. And the Retif Oil team takes to the field. They will have Jean Drawn in left, Brothers in center with Malmazzano in right. Dugan at third, Sirio at short, Delat second, Bosco first, Gentry catching, and on the mound is Bo Mataluski heading into his senior season, 6'2", 210 pounds. Mataluski's good. He's pitched in 3 games this summer, and he's won them all, 3-0, with a 1.66 earned run average for Mataluski. In 12 2/3 innings, he has allowed just 5 hits on the summer, which tells you a lot. 3 earned runs. He's walked 6 and struck out 9. Fastball, breaking ball pitcher. Seen him on the prep level quite a bit. He's been very good for Kenny Goodlett. Brother Martin-based Case for Kids will have Camber Keller, Brady McCluskey, and Bronson Lamont to get it started here. In the top of the first inning. 7-inning game. And you play to win. This game will go on until a winner is determined. During the course of the season, we have some liberal policies to allow them to hit extra hitters if they like. And both teams can declare a tie if they like to after 7 innings. So it's really at the discretion of the schools. While it's a development league, as Lenny has pointed out many times, they're playing to win. They're here to win tonight in a big way, especially these two rivals.
Our first batter,
Camber Keller to get it started, the shortstop. Keller, a sophomore to be. Young player, 269 with a home run and 7 driven in on the season. Mataluski, the son, and the first pitch of the game is plateward. and down, and the first pitch at 6:05. Walks were a major issue for the losers last evening, both of them. That is just outside. It's 2-0. We had two decidedly plate umpires last night. See how this pans out. You get a read on guys fairly early on. 2-0, and it's 2-1.
Three-man crew here tonight for the championship.
And the schools want that. And very clear. 2-1. Breaking ball away, 3-1. Good to see Jay Ullman here again tonight. We had a lot of coaches here last night. He's got make it a double purpose, if you will, here this evening, right? That's away, so there's the leadoff walk, and that's what led to big trouble for the Malcolm Dean's team last night against this Case for Kids team. Here's Brady McCluskey, the outstanding center fielder.
Center fielder.
Going into his junior year, and he's got a lot of
McCluskey.
college opportunities coming his way. 300 hitter now, no homers, 4 driven in for Brady. Left-handed hitter, good gap-to-gap hitter. Can run, open stance left side. Down the middle, it's 0-1.
Let's see how the Crusaders play things here early. You know, of course, the first 5 men reached yesterday, and then they left the bases loaded after that.
High and away. Even at 1-1, Keller has swiped 2 bases on the summer. The Oilers play the hitter straight away, looking for the double play ball. McCluskey's not easy to double up. Dugan cheats in a Chad at third, snap throw to first.
Center fielder can line up with the football lines out there. I just realized that. Brother standing right at the 50-yard line.
On the hands, tap foul behind the plate, 1-2. Jeff Lupo, the head coach. Case for Kids coaching at third. He's pointing out something that shouldn't be in play.
I don't know if there's a gate open down there or what's going on. Let's
First
see
base
here.
umpire over.
Okay.
Not sure what it is that he has spotted, but he's asking.
And of course he can't.
Oh, he's talking about the first baseman positioning, just showing that's what it appears from the naked eye. Now, they get after each other a little bit.
Well, it's one of those things, too. Yeah, you've got to be in fair territory.
You do.
You know, which requires, 1 foot in fair territory,
Correct.
I guess, to be that way?
Technically.
Yeah, if he's setting them both up in foul territory, yeah, it's a...
One and two the count. And now the catcher will go out on instructions from the dugout. So we got a little cat and mouse game being played right away here.
Right, and maybe, Ken, it's got something to do with the fact that Bosco doesn't have a foot on the bag.
No, he's off the bag with both feet.
Right.
That's true. But he can be where he wants to be in that regard. He just can't block the baseline.
Well, but by doing that, is he blocking the path for on a pickoff throw for the runner to be able to get back to the bag? Now he's got the right foot a little bit more forward.
Breaking ball, that's a base hit to right field. Throw will come to second. He's out at second base. So it turns into a force play on a 9-6 putout. So the runner didn't get a great jump. Ball was hit real hard on one hop to Paul Mazzano, and he threw a strike to Serio for out number 1.
Well, 2 things there. One, it looked like for a moment the second baseman might have a chance to make a diving stop. He couldn't get to it, so the runner had to hold up for that. Then, remember, those outfielders are playing very shallow because the ball does not carry tremendously well in this ballpark, and they were able to make a play at second.
Bronson Lamont takes it high. A .455 hitter, no homers, and 8 RBI. He's got a really good future. And talking last night, he's got quite a few looking at him. Good player. Runner goes, and he's drilled by the pitch. Lenny, we saw what? In 2 games, I think we saw 11 players got hit by pitches last night?
It was a bunch, you know. Felt like I was watching a Coastal Carolina game there for a while there, you know.
So now 2 on, 1 out, and How big is that play at second base now?
If you didn't know, they set the NCAA record this year. Of
Correct.
course, you know they faced LSU in the championship, but they did set an NCAA single-season record for hit batters.
Here comes Jeff Lupo again.
Is he going to make sure his...
Well, let's see.
Yeah, making
I
sure
think
his
he's
guys
going to just want to make sure here, but he went all the way across, and he did. So no exchange there. He's fine. He's getting his legwork in here. Won't take much on this evening.
Yeah, by the way, you mentioned the temperature. You mentioned the
First
humidity. The
baseman,
heat index, or the feels like, was
Elliott.
104 at 6 o'clock.
Piece
And
of
I'm
cake,
sure
man.
it's a little bit warmer than that on the turf. And as we speak, they're stirring down towards the bullpen on the first base side.
Colton Elliott bats the first baseman at .429 with 9 RBI on the summer. High and away. 1 ball and no strikes. And it appears Calvin McGee will start to loosen in the bullpen for Retif Oil. At the knees, it's 1-1 on Elliott. Colton Elliott. He's only going to be a sophomore, another really good-looking young player. Coming off his freshman year, he's hitting cleanup. Speaks volumes, and his numbers speak volumes as well. Breaking ball straight up. Center fielder should have an easy chance. Brothers coasting under it, puts it away. Runners hold. That's a big out. 2 gone. And now Tyler Duran. Tyler at .333. No homers and 10 runs driven in his many games played. Gets some information from his
Catcher.
teammate,
Tyler Durand.
giving him some thoughts about what to look for. Mazalewski trying to pitch around. Walking a hit batter. And a base hit that turned into a force out. Breaking ball right down the middle. It's 0-1.
Metairie a two-sport guy. Look, when you see football, baseball, what do you think of a lot of times? You see quarterbacks, maybe. You see wide receivers.
High and away. It's 1-1.
Don't see many safeties come over and play baseball, especially turn into a pitcher, right? Yeah.
Well, remember the, what was it, 2015 when Keller caught for Shaw and Forcade caught for Rummel, and they were both outstanding quarterbacks.
Sure.
That's a rare combination. Quarterbacks, catchers.
Yeah, well, catchers have to throw, too, but still, that's right. You've got to be thick enough to do that.
Inside a ball, and it's 2-1. Yeah, the football coaches were sweating that out.
Oh, I bet.
I promise you. That
All
was
it takes is,
at
yeah.
the time, Scott Bain's father at Shaw and Jay Roth at Rummel. I remember that well. We talked about that. Some strange combination. Quarterbacks, catchers. Quarterbacks, pitchers? Sure. Or shortstops? Yep. 2-1. Fastball strike. And it's 2-2.
Okay. Best multi-sport athletes you remember seeing in your time covering high school sports in New Orleans?
Best multi-sport
Yeah,
athlete?
but like good at both sports. And obviously there are guys, you know.
Darren Darez, Tim
He was-
Parrington.
Sure.
2-2. Pitch on the way. Line drive into right field. Right fielder on the run is there. And making the catch is Gavin Palmisano to end the threat with no runs and no hits and no errors and 2 left. Bottom of the first coming. Case for Kids, nothing. And Retif Oil coming to bat. So now you're making me chew on that. Look, when I was a kid, Wayne Frasang was that guy. He was a tremendous all-sport guy. Really good.
Yep.
But there's been a few, though, like that. Those guys certainly come to mind pretty quickly.
Oh, there's, look, the 4-sport guys, but even like, obviously we see so much specialization now. There are still some multi-sport guys as we see out here, but yeah.
You might see it more on the girls' side of things, and I think of Kirsten Nuss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, what she did was extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And you did that Mount Carmel Destrehan playoff game, which is arguably in the 13 years we've been streaming at definitely the best girls event we've ever done. But I would put it right up there with all of the events we've done, including, of course, that memorable 18-inning game here back in 2012. But but what Nuss did, and I saw this too, the girl at the Sacred Heart this year, I believe, did the same thing. I mean, you're playing two sports in the same season.
Right.
That's crazy. You get, when you're soccer's a winter sport in Louisiana, so you get soccer and basketball at the same time, and they're playing both. That's bizarre to me, yeah.
Case for kids team on the field. There's Gavin left, McCluskey center, counted 0 right. Lamont third, Keller short. Ullman at second, Elliott first, Duran catching, and on the mound is the right-hander Drake Amity. Amity, as mentioned, got the save first time these two teams met each other. He has made just one appearance in this summer. No record, a 3.0 earned run average. And that was that one game he pitched in against Retif Oil. 2 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. It's only his second appearance of the summer.
That's interesting that Jeff Lupo, over the course of his summer league, has used 11 different pitchers. So he's, again, talk about development. He wants to see what he's got out there in the way of arms, and a lot of guys pitching a lot of innings, and in a lot of cases, because they're so good, a lot of times maybe they're ending the game in 5. They're winning by run rules. That's 2 innings you don't get to see pitchers.
Griffin Gendron leads it off. 429 with a homer and 13 driven in. Swing and a miss. Really good cutter there. It's 0-1. Not going to hit that pitch. 0-1. Down and out. Even up at a ball and a strike. Most pitchers, as we've seen, will pitch away in this big ballpark. 1-1. On a play right side, late, and it's 1-2.
You see more and more of what Amity's doing out there, and he works exclusively from the stretch rather than from the windup with no one on base.
One, 2. Down, it's 2-2.
Of course, you're talking about all those multi-sport athletes. I guess Nuss is the only one that became an Olympian, right?
A short list.
Now it's 3-2. So Gendron has battled back here.
You like to see a leadoff hitter be patient up there, even down in the count, and force the pitcher into the strike zone.
And he walks. So both leadoff hitters coax walks here in the first inning. And now Derek DeLatte to the plate, hitting .414 with
Second
8 driven in.
baseman, Derek DeLatte.
Gendron had the base clearing triple on the ball that was lost last night. Now DeLatte had quite a summer. Got a hit and an RBI last night. Showed bunt, took a strike over the outside edge. Got the call. It's 0-1. Over the pitcher's at the second. Play will be to first for the out. Kai Ullman had to charge that. Because he's coming forward, Judy doesn't really have a chance to make a play at second.
Right in front of the bag. So clearly just trying to square up well enough once he fielded the ball to be able to get the ball accurately over to first and get the out available, and he did a good job.
Michael Brothers.
Making sure of an out. One gone. Michael Brothers, quite a summer. .484 with 7 RBI for the lefty swinger. The center fielder. Strike at the knees. So the low strike is there this evening. Brothers going into his senior season at Jesuit. Toward first, handled Elliott. Flipping, and he's safe. Oh, I don't know about that. Might want to see that again.
Bang, bang.
I thought he beat it.
I thought he got there, actually. I mean, generally, when you see the bang-bang play, more times than not, it's going to be an out.
Amity had to make up a lot of ground there.
That was close.
First baseman, Joe Bosco.
Yeah, Amity had a long way to go.
I thought he beat it, but that was the ultimate bang-bang play. Here's Bosco. Breaking ball just missed away, 1-0. But you didn't see any big arguments, so it might have told you that they thought he was out.
They get to the next level. The first thing they do is they start like putting their
earmuffs,
their earmuffs on. You know,
strike call 1-1.
We could add that to the league, you know, being the Crescent City Sports League. You can be the replay umpire. Can your dream come true?
Not mine. Down and out. 2 balls and a strike on Bosco. 459 with 15 runs driven in to lead this team. Excellent two-way player. Good pitcher. 6'2", 205. Bosco. Swings, and it's a base hit to center. And the Oilers take a 1-0 lead. 2-out hits. Those are huge. They did it last night with 2 outs. They do it again here, Lenny.
Yep. Got the runs to walk it off.
Shortstop,
with nobody out with 1 out. But
Serio.
again, first inning they got 9 runs with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. They had that dropped third strike or wild pitch that ended up allowing the first run to score, and then the floodgates opened from there.
Marshall Serio bats. 286 with 6 driven in. He check swing, fouls it. Over toward the Crusader dugout, 0-1.
The Crusaders had Bosco left side of the infield, expecting him to pull, so the shortstop swung way over towards third base, but Bosco hit it right up the middle, right where it was pitched, squarely. Best hit ball of the game so far, and the 1-0 lead the result.
Towards second, Ullman will go to short for the force at second, and the inning is over. But a run crosses the plate on 1 hit with no errors and a runner stranded.
1 run scored on 1
after
hit
1 in the
bottom of the
championship game
first.
of the Crescent City
After
Sports
1
Prep Summer
inning,
League. It's Retif 101 and
K's for Kids
nothing.
0.
You know, Ken, we mentioned, of course, whoever is victorious this evening is going to be the first 2-time champion in the history of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. As you take a look back at our first 3 champions, of course, the first year right here at John Ryan, it was Retif Oil in walk-off fashion at the bottom of the 9th inning, defeating the River Ridge Patriots. And then 2 years ago, it was Lutcher-based Cypress Physical Therapy, another walk-off win against the River Ridge Patriots. And then a year ago, across the river at Winterscheid Stadium, Case for Kids got their first title with a win over Pope John Paul. So 3 years, 3 different titles, but 2 of those teams are in action here tonight. So the winner is going to be our first 2-time champion.
In this venue, of course, looking to go 3 for 3, and Thrillers, of course, unavailable last year because of a turfing issue, but we're so glad Jesuit willing to have us back here for the playoffs. The turf certainly helps, as we learned again last night with a weather delay. You never know what's going to happen this time of year when it comes to how the weather's going to cooperate or not in that case.
Yeah. So to get back briefly to our 2-sport conversation, our good friend Bill Gallagher chimes in, and how could I forget this one, of course, the late, great Tookie Spann. Football, baseball. Sure. Now that you talk about, I mean, Tookie was a third baseman, played the outfield some, but he was a linebacker in football. And not only did he play 2 sports at Brother Martin, he went on and played 2 sports at Tulane.
Luke Gabb hits one to right pretty well. Right fielder won't get there. That ball's traveling to the wall. It's going to bounce up against the barrier. He's going to get a triple out of this. And a big start to the second inning for K's for Kids. Luke Gabb triples to deep right. Well, nobody plays deep in this ballpark because of the dimensions, Jude. And once in a while you get into one, and that's what we see, a bunch of triples here.
Right, the flip side, whether it's over the head of an outfielder or between 2 and gets to the gap in the wall. If you got decent speed, you should be able to turn 3, and that's huge with the leadoff hitter in this case, as K's for Kids now 90 feet away from tying this thing up.
Justin Morgan.
Here's Justin Morgan. 500 with 4 RBI on the summer. Pitch is a strike. They'll stay back up the middle. In at third. 0-1 on Morgan. Down and out. It's equal at 1-1.
You know, one thing at the high school level, Jude was talking about it with the hit up the middle in the first inning for the first run. You don't see, this is, high schools tend to play it a little more like the pros now, where they can't do the overshifting.
Good breaking ball, but it's just low.
But at the college level, you see it a lot. You see the 3 on the one side of the infield, or maybe the second baseman or the shortstop effectively playing right behind the bag. It's it's different.
Swing and a miss. Threw it by him away, and it's 2-2 on Justin Morgan.
The pro ball rule is silly. Hitters need to adjust. Take what the defense is giving you, so to speak. I think that was a terrible change.
Towards short. That'll get the run home. Great job by Justin Morgan. Dug out nicely by Bosco. And this game is tied at 1-1. Well, Justin Morgan doing his brother Trey proud there. He gets a run home.
No doubt.
And you can picture Trey choking up on the bat and just trying to make solid contact, as he did so well for LSU, and now
Right
rising up
fielder,
in the minor leagues. And just putting the ball in play is Retif essentially conceding the run there.
That's what you need to do in this situation early in the game.
Luca Catanzaro bats, takes it away. It's 1-0. Catanzaro, 125. No homers, 2 driven in.
You're our analytics guy, Lenny. Leadoff triples. What's the percentage of those guys scoring?
Runner third, nobody out. It's good.
Strike called. It's 1-1.
How much of that is? I mean, obviously, a lot of these parks don't have all of the data that you can get from college and pro stadiums, but still within the statistical work, I don't know how much they deal with analytics at this level.
1-2.
But it's certainly got to be more than when all of us were in school. I can tell you that.
There's certainly scouting and charting going on, particularly if in a league like this, you're heading towards the postseason, you're going to send assistants out to check out what's going on with your likely competition.
1-2. And it's 2-2.
And look, they know these guys, even if they've just seen them. Maybe these guys weren't playing varsity. Maybe they were playing
right.
JV. They've gotten to look at these players. These two programs certainly no strangers to each other.
And that was true, of course, of all 4 to make the playoffs this year from the same district.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. And that's out number 2. First strikeout recorded by Metalewski. And now Drake Amity, his counterpart for Brother Martin on the mound, will bat. 350 hitter with 3 driven in.
Pitcher, Drake
Well, I think it speaks to the
Amity.
depth of this league, this 9-5A league, to see all 4 teams being from that league here out of 21 in the playoffs. That's a good one. A popping strike from Bo.
They were all top 10 seeds in the Division I select playoffs this year. Brother Martin 3, Jesuit 5. Rummel and John Curtis were 9 and 8 respectively.
And of course, all these players returning for next year. So Holy Cross, a senior-laden team that had the number 2 seed in Division I select. It just tells you ridiculously tough district.
Almost hit him. Ran it inside 2-1. Tigers will have Don Pellegrin back, who's tremendous. Tulane commit. They do graduate quite a bit. This Jesuit team is experienced. They've got quite a few guys going into their senior year on this team. Maybe the most we've seen of these teams. 2-1. That's a looping liner. That's going to be a base hit. Into right center field. So Amity, now the ball's bobbled, and the throw to second is not in time. That'll be a base hit and an error. So a single by Amity, who kept running hard, and it paid off on the error in right field. Have to give him an error there.
He slowed down at least. He didn't.
And that's important because it gets him into scoring position for leadoff hitter, Camber Keller.
Ball just rolled up on the glove there towards the wrist area, and that's why it popped away.
Amber Keller.
Here's Keller. Walked his first trip. Strike called. It's 0-1.
Number 13, Dominic Toten, running at second base.
Dominic Toten runs at second base for the pitcher Amity. Pickoff move. Runner back, no problem. Toten. Long look. Breaking ball in the dirt, smothered by Guidry. Even at a ball on a strike.
By the way, after 47 rainouts this summer, isn't it nice to see the sun out right now?
Toward right, that's a base hit, and that should score another, and it will. And K's for Kids has taken a 2-1 lead on a 2-run RBI single by Amber Keller. The error looms large. Lenny said it last night. This team is too good to make mistakes against, and that's what happened to Malcolm Dinas last night, and it's happening right now to Retif Oil.
No doubt. Whatever kind of free opportunities you give them, you can't give them to them. It could be walks, it could be free bases on error, whatever it is. You got to, you don't give good teams additional opportunities out there.
Back-to-back hitters knowing they're being pitched away and going with the pitch and just taking, again, what's given there, and the error obviously mixing in to help K's for Kids take their first lead.
Action continuing down in the Retif bullpen. Long visit out here by Coach Goodell with his entire infield out there. Just, I guess.
Well, Calvin McGee's ready if needed. He's been throwing for a full inning now, basically.
Like Apollo Creed once said, there is no tomorrow, so you're going to use every pitcher available here.
Well, here's the difference in these two teams is this. There is no tomorrow for K's for Kids. Retif is the one team in the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League that's going to play in the American Legion State Tournament starting on Saturday. So,
and wishing Retif Oil all the luck in the world.
Center fielder
in that event.
Brady McCluskey.
There's Brady McCluskey. Fielder's choice ground out his first trip. That was the ball where he lined the ball to right field for what looked like a base hit. But the runner got thrown out at second. So he lost his knock. Takes it a strike call. Of course, he'll get a lot of knocks. He's a future college player, most likely at the Division I level.
And it's an interesting point, Lenny, about playing an American Legion for Retif Oil, because that gives them even more reason not to run up too high of a pitch count on any one given pitcher today.
Well,
foul back to the netting 0-2.
Keep this in mind, that everybody else they're playing against starting on Saturday is able to play with players that are a year, maybe 2 years older in some cases, and they are continuing to stick with their roster of no seniors going against those teams.
Playing with their Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League team and competing well, I might add. Runner goes, pitches up, the throw down is in plenty of time, and he's gone. Nice throw by Guidry, tag applied by Sirio, inning over on the 2-6 put out. In the inning, 2-run score on 3 hits, no errors, nobody left. Bottom of the second coming, and K's for Kids has taken a 2-1 lead over Retif Oil. And today's coverage of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League is brought to you by the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Ford, the #1 Ford dealer in the Metro New Orleans market. Must be a reason. Timmy Lamarck was here last night. I don't see him right now tonight. Of course, he came over and got after me pretty good when Lenny went down to the field.
Was it me?
Might have been you.
Oh, okay, might have been.
Well, as soon as you left, he came over, so that was on cue.
Your reputation precedes you. That's what he's trying to say.
There you go. All right, so as we get ready for the bottom of the second, McGee is continuing to warm. That tells me he may start the third inning. It could be a telltale sign when you got a relief pitcher continuing to warm up when your team's at bat.
Right, and started in the top of the first, so he should be more than ready, as Ken mentioned. And look, on a day like this, even though it's getting towards nightfall, right? It's not that difficult to get warmed up. You're halfway there.
You're basically as soon as you got to the bullpen, you were hot already. So.
Right
Bottom of the second inning.
Gavin Palmisano.
Gavin Palmisano leads it off. Palmisano, 429 hitter with a homer and 13 driven in on the summer. He had a big 2-run triple to help close the game out in the 6th inning last night against River Ridge. Takes it down and out from Amity. His 16th pitch of the game. 9 have been strikes. One-0. Toward right. Long run, Catanzaro. Can he get there? The answer is yes. In foul territory for out number 1. A lot of room to cover in this outfield. Catanzaro covered it well. The batter is Austin Guidry, who's had a huge summer. 481 with a homer and 8 driven in for Austin.
Austin Guidry.
Guidry will stand in. Big kid, 6'1", 215, and he is only going into his sophomore season. Boy, we've seen some good young players. Stretch pitch. Powered it by him. It's 0-1. Yeah, that's a big young man for a kid going into his sophomore year.
Yeah.
Good looking player. 1-1. Again, you look at that theme that we spoke of really good young players. Guidry, certainly one of those. Harrison Cirio, Logan Nelson for the Oilers, or those players too that are going into their sophomore years that are very good. Strike call. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Camber Keller going into his sophomore year for K's for Kids, another really good young player. 1-2. Look out. 2-2. Saw some good ones from River Ridge Patriots. You saw the 2 young ones. The one going into the 8th grader going into his freshman year for Rummel, Bo Stevens. Really good looking prospect. And of course, their big 6'4" pitcher going into his sophomore year, Grayson Scheckschneider. Stepped out. And that was a large reason why you had the coaches here last night.
You get a chance to see 4 really good teams all at one time.
Struck him out looking. Good fastball. Guidry gone, 2 gone. That is strikeout number 1 for Amity. After you get a couple of runs and take the lead, you want to go up and put out a 0, and that's what he's aiming to do here. Needs 1 more. It's Jackson Dugan.
Jackson Dugan.
Dugan at 0.95 with 4 driven in. Third baseman for Retif Oil. Stretch and the pitch. That is high. And of course, Retif Oil, the legacy clear from the late Milton Retif. Through the late Mickey Retif, my dear friend. And of course, Kenny carrying the torch forward. 1-0. Up and a ball. It's 2-0.
This is their first summer since Milton passed away in September. Tulane this year wearing this jersey number 27 on their sleeves.
2-0 is a strike. It's 2-1. Wonderful family. Denise and I were looking at wedding pictures. Ours going back a long way, and there's Mickey. The last year of his life. In the air to center. McCluskey coasting under it. 1-2-3 inning for Amity. Shutdown inning. We played 2. K's for Kids 2. Retif Oil 1. In the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League Championship game.
Finish on the Mickey Retif front, but getting a chance to visit with Joe Sherman a few weeks ago for the story that I did for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame program. And he talked about playing summer baseball, and Joe had Joe's got an October birthday, so he had a chance to come back after his freshman year at Delgado, where he basically only, coached first base for his dad, got a few at-bats in there, but came back and played for the Redemptorist team in American Legion the next year. We used to see a lot of that back in the day, and he had a great summer, and that is where Mickey Retif first noticed his ability. He was an assistant for Joe Brockhoff, who unfortunately we just lost less than a month ago. It's June the 2nd. And that's part of how Joe ended up at Tulane. He got a chance, of course, to play as a sophomore for his dad at Delgado back in 1982, and then went on to play for Tulane in 1983 and 1984.
Calvin McGee will take over on the mound for Retif Oil as we go to the third inning. 2-1 case for Kids on top. The line on Matalewski, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs earned. He walked 1, struck out 1, and hit 1. Could lose, cannot win, and now we get McGee going into his junior season. Calvin McGee, 2 appearances in the summer, no record, a good 0.88 earned run average, 8 innings pitched for McGee. Just 1 earned run allowed, 5 hits in those 8 innings. He's walked 4 and struck out 4. He has hit 4 batters. Saw him in prep this year as well. Finishes his warm-up tosses. And he'll have a tough task facing the 2, 3, and 4 hitters.
Another 2-sport guy.
Center fielder, Brady McCluskey.
McCluskey was up there when Kaler was out stealing to end the top of the second inning. Pitch on the way, missing down and out. One and one. Again, Jesuit pretty much plays straight up for most all hitters. With a few exceptions. Here it comes. Hard hit, base hit. Boy, this kid can hit. He should be 2 for 2. But they're not going to throw him out on this one.
No. I don't see any 9-3 putouts coming here.
Well, you want to remember that name. He's going to be playing somewhere significant here in a couple of years. Bronson Lamont, another really good prospect. At the plate, he was hit by a pitch his first time.
Bronson Lamont.
And it's 0-1 on Lamont.
It's interesting. Only 2 rising seniors in the Brother Martin lineup tonight.
Oh, they're young.
Amity, the pitcher, and Lamont. We saw 2 last night pitch in Tingsherman Valley.
Well, I think the other 3 teams are pretty young. The River Ridge Patriots and the Malcolm Dinas team they're young. There's a strike called. It's 0-2. And the Malcolm Dinas team lost the most because, as we said last night in that game, they only have 1 guy in their lineup in the summer that started in prep. It's basically all new guys.
So 4 rising seniors for Case for Kids, 13 rising seniors for Retif.
Yeah, they're the very experienced club, as I mentioned earlier. Trouble relaying the sign here, so catcher looked over to make sure he got it right.
First instinct after watching so much college baseball was there was a problem with pitch count.
Breaking ball checked, laid off, and it is 1-2.
Everything trickles down. Think we'll see that on a high school level?
I should think at some point it's a budget issue. You can go to the watch system, which a lot of colleges, junior colleges use. See Delgado with that. That's up and in, 2-2.
I often wonder at times if they're
And your buddy Joe Sherman, your buddy Joe Sherman calls the pitches, and pitcher's not like this, not sure, and Joe just goes, right here. As only he can, right?
Oh, yeah.
To third. Across the diamond, good peg by Dugan. Takes care of Lamont, but it's a productive out. McCluskey up to second with one out.
Yeah, of course, we had Marty Luquette with us last night, Jude, and you, of course, were in Natchitoches as well for Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame weekend. What a fantastic weekend, and congratulations to Joe and so many good friends. And I've had the chance to be a part of that for many years now, as you have, and it's. Look, you're putting the people in who deserve to be in first and foremost, but when it ends up being friends who get honored as well, then it's really extra special.
Well, who doesn't like Joe Sherman? That's what it comes down to. You're happy for him as a person, as somebody that you deal with professionally, and he does so much also locally outside of baseball in the sports realm because of his passion for it. And it was good to see him get emotional about the connection with his legendary father, Rags, and just soaking in the moment and not being that stoic coach he normally has to be, or at least thinks he has to be.
He's gotten that way as he's gotten older. Ken's around him a lot.
That's
now.
a wild pitch. Runner will go to third. That's a big play with only one out. Now another run is 90 feet away for a good hitter.
Right. I think you'd agree with that, Ken. As Joe gets older, I think it's, I don't want to say he's getting softer. I don't think Joe would ever tell you that, but I think he realizes, scope of things a little bit more. And obviously, look, he's lost, he lost Mama Maureen the last couple of years. Of course, he lost his sister Emma a couple of months ago. That's, family has been through a lot. That's a very tight-knit family.
Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. We did the final home game over at Kirsch Rooney, and Denise was there. We went up on the patio to visit with Emma and Maureen, and had a good visit. And about 3 weeks later, she's gone.
Yep.
We had no idea. 1-1. Towards second. There's the job done again. Great situational hitting, and it's 3-1. Base for Kids. Elliott drives in his 10th run. Second time we've seen that. That's the sign of a good team, Jude.
No doubt. They put the ball in play and just have moved runners so well in this game and taken advantage of a couple of extra bases given away by Retif Oil. And that's no surprise when what we've seen from this Crusader team for many years now and what Jeff Lupo's done to sort of continue what Mark Wisniewski was doing for so long. The continuity with these programs also so impressive with the long-tenured coaches.
Tyler Duran flew out to right his first time, took a ball. Toward third again. Dugan, high hop, sets and throws on the money. Inning over, 3 ground ball outs, but first a base hit, then a ground out, a wild pitch, and an RBI ground out. A run on a hit with no errors and nobody left. Bottom of the third coming. Case for Kids has taken a 3-1 lead over Retif Oil. And today's coverage of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League is brought to you by Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute. Don't let a sports injury keep you sidelined. Our team offers health care for athletes with same-day appointments available near you. Visit ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more.
And you can stress that being able to play quote-unquote small ball, move runners, situational hitting is so important in John Ryan because of the dimensions, how the park plays. But that's winning baseball anywhere you go. There are no Earl Weavers coaching in the Catholic League, let's put it that way.
And certainly not in this ballpark. And now Amity, armed with a 2-run lead, back to work. He's thrown 26 pitches. That's 26 in 2 innings. He's walked 1 and struck out 1. And he'll face Delat to get it started. Another one of those young rising stars going into his sophomore season.
Designated hitter, Jace Dillett.
There's Jace Dillett. 414 with 8 RBIs for the youngster. Lefty swinger facing Amity. Swung on and missed. Toward first, but foul. 0-2.
You referenced Marty Luquette earlier. Great coach locally in his own right for so many years, and it's nice to have him involved with our broadcasts here. And he was letting me know up in Natchitoches just how much he really enjoys it. Like, stop me just to let me know. And staying close to the game, I know, means a lot to him.
In the center, long run, but there's good speed there. And you know who, Brady McCluskey, he'll coast to that ball.
Yeah.
He's just a very good player. One gone.
Yeah. Good break on it. That's, look, you can, we talked about this last night. It's one thing to have athletic ability. It's one thing to have speed. It's another thing to have baseball skills and instincts to be able to get a break on that ball to make that play. So it's a combination of skills there in terms of making that look so easy.
Griffin Gendron walked and scored the lone run in the first. He hits this one in the same direction. Who's going to get this? The right fielder, and making the catch is counting 0. So 2 quick outs obtained here by Amadou, who's now sit down 6 in a row, and here's Derek Dillett.
Yeah, speaking of our Crescent City sports analysts, let's congratulate Wade Kaiser, who is won an award from the Louisiana Sports Writers Association on Sunday, part of the top broadcast team for his work on one of the LHSA Network Championship game broadcasts this year. Second time he's won that. Maybe he knew what he was doing when he got out of coaching and moved over to our side of things.
1-0 the count on Dillett. And Derek took this one just low. It's 2-0, one of the 2 Dilletts on this club. Lights are on now at John Ryan. 2-0. And it's 3-0. And it's 4-0. So Dillett to first with 2 outs. Second walk issued by Amity. Will get Michael Brothers to the plate, who was on at first on that really close play. First to pitcher back in the first inning.
Michael Brothers.
Turned out to be an important out because there was a run scored in that inning.
A couple of key plays on both ends of the first inning.
That's a wild one, and that will get a runner into scoring position.
Before the ball could even be picked up by the catcher, Jeff Lupo was out of the dugout and on his way to the mound. And the first baseman started to come in, and Lupo says, "Get back, I want to talk to my pitcher." Just me and him. Not even the catcher's going to come out here. It's going to be a one-on-one conversation.
Well, again, we try to interpret what we're watching, and I think what he's saying is, whatever you just threw, don't throw it again.
Well, he's missed badly on 5 straight pitches here. So whatever was working there to retire 6 in a row, go back to doing that. Just relax, stay within yourself. And
It could be something mechanical. It could be just he's rushing himself a little bit here. We'll see how sage the advice is very shortly.
Always throw a strike after the coach visits, and it will result in an inning-ending groundout. As Ullman throws out Brothers. No runs, no hits, 1 man left. That's 2 stranded by Retif. We've played 3, and it's still 3-1. Case for kids in the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League Championship game.
Lenny, we've got another baseball event perhaps coming up. I don't know if we can talk about it yet. I think we can.
Oh, yeah. Coming up next Thursday night. It's going to be the 10th anniversary game for Gibbs Construction. Speaking of our analyst, Danny Ream, of course, coaches that team each summer when he has some time with his baseball schedule. He joins us in the booth once in a while. His team's playing tonight, or else he might have joined us here tonight. Anyhow, we'll be out at Privateer Park, Metairie Field for that one next Thursday, 6 o'clock. They'll be taking on Noka in their 10th anniversary game right here. You can watch it right here on Crescent City Sports, and we'll get some baseball in, but we'll talk a lot about what's going on in the in the 10 years of that program, because he's changed courses along the way. Basically the same philosophy of giving an opportunity to graduated seniors to be able to play in the summer, and played in different places. Started out at American Legion, then went Connie Mack for a couple of years, and now will play in the Grand Slam World Series for the second straight year. They won that a year ago in Panama City.
And another member of that St. Louis Cardinals cabal we have to deal with.
They're
diehard
everywhere.
fan, hence the name.
They are everywhere.
Well, we got two guys on that staff that have been our analysts for many years. Danny Ream and Kirk Bollinger on the Gibbs Construction Cardinals. Pitch is down for a ball to Lou Gabb. He had the big triple to get things rolling for the Case for Kids back in the second and scored the first run. That is low, and it is 2 balls and no strikes. I know we have a lot of people watching tonight. I want to give a shout out to one that's kind of far away. That's high, and it's 3-0. I'm getting the message, getting the business 2,000 miles away in Hamilton, Montana. Say hello to Ryan. He's watching here this evening. It's got a little bit to do with Brother Martin High School. Here's a strike called. It's 3-1. You alluded to Bill Gallagher earlier. Well, this is principal son number 1, Ryan Gallagher.
There you go.
Not to be confused with principal son number 2.
Yeah, I think
Bill Gallagher at North Shore.
I think Bill is the
strike 2.
Is Bill the Archie Manning of principals?
Something like that.
Yes. You know, there you go. So
something like that. Another of our analysts. A good man. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch. And ball 4. So you walk the leadoff man again, invite trouble, and Justin Morgan to the plate. He drove in a run with a ground ball out. His first time.
And we can shout out that Bill is a diehard White Sox fan. So
Okay.
pray for the man.
He is.
Designated hitter, Justin Morgan.
Hasn't been great to be a Cardinals fan of late, but storied franchise.
it's probably better than being a White Sox fan.
Most championships in National League history. But it's been good to be an Astros fan for you guys, for sure. This is high, and it's 1-0 to Morgan.
And
that'll prompt
quickly,
a visit from Kenny Goodland as the bullpen is busy for Retif Oil.
that wasn't quite as fast as Jeff Lupo a moment ago, but it was still a pretty quick trip out there. The whole infield's coming out for this one. So.
It's Jacob Chan in the bullpen. Chan started the game against Case for Kids on June 18th, and he's warming now. And again, in the grand scheme of things, 2-run deficit, you can make that up. It gets any more than that, it's going to be tough against a good team.
And Chan's been down there for a while, Ken, so he's ready to go at a moment's notice here.
Home plate umpires like, do I really have to walk out here? Okay. Took about 6-7 steps, and I'm good. Good to see our buddy Carl Nini umpiring here last night. Carl does double, triple duty in his life. Outstanding athletic director for Jefferson Parish. Here's Morgan. That's up, so McGee's struggling. Now 2-0.
Jesuits had the leadoff man on in every inning.
Look out. 3-0, and I mean, he's really lost his mechanics.
Consistently missing up badly in particular.
And ball 4. So back-to-back walks, that's going to cause problems. Always does, but especially when you're down in the game.
And it looks like Chan will be the pitcher who has to deal with the situation for Retif Oil.
As Kenny Goodler comes to the mound. And we're going to see Jacob Chan as the third pitcher of the game for Retif. McGee able to go 1 inning plus. 1 hit, a couple of walks. Can't close the book on him yet with the 2 base runners. As he will depart. And we'll get Jacob Chan coming on. He's going into his senior year. Another big kid, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Jacob Chan. 4 appearances in the summer. He's 1-1. With that 1 loss being against Case for Kids. A 2.40 earned run average. 11 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 4 earned runs on 11 hits in those 11 2/3. Has walked 9, a high total. He's hit 2, and he struck out 14. So a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks. For Jacob Chan. Family everywhere. Good to have my cousin Tammy here tonight. Got a son on making a grandson on the Jesuit ball club. Starting to give away the age here.
Now pitching for Retif, number 28.
Now, one of the really cool moments of the prep season this year, guys. Danny Ream and I did the Jesuit Rommel game here. And the outcome was decided, and Frank Cazzo sitting below us. And to start the 7th inning, he put in a young man by the name of Spencer Mizuraka, whose grandfather had passed away shortly before that. Larry DeGate made the announcement and then saluted Frank Cazzo and the Rommel family and saluted the Mizuraka family, and he got a standing ovation here from both sides. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Frank was a wonderful guy. I'll always cherish the fact that he handpicked me to do his roast, which was one of the fun nights of my life. Some of the best lines you will have ever heard. But the one that sticks out to me will always stick out, and it didn't make Father McGinn very happy, and that was Joe Sherman. First line when he got up there, man. What the hell is this rubber chicken? And Redemptress, we serve steak. And the whole place went bonkers except for one person who was sitting right in front of the stage. Here's Luca Cannizzaro. Bunted foul. Now, if anybody knows Tony McGinn, bless his heart, he's a great guy, and he's a terrific leader of the school over there in Carrollton Banks for so many years. But he's kind of dry, you know what I mean?
An ardent literalist,
yes,
we'll call him.
There you go. He's a dry guy. So to show emotion is not really his deal at all. So when you see a little smirk, it's kind of not unusual. But everybody else was cracking up. Strike called. 0-2. Well, they got 3 bunts down last night, Lenny, but not here. In an obvious bunt situation. And every coach will tell you, we work on it, we work on it. Chan could use the strikeout. Got a bunt 0-2 and can't get it done, so that's not going to earn him any brownie points. 1 gone on the strikeout. And look at Jeff Lupo.
You got to get the bunt down there.
You got one job.
Well,
you want to play? I always laugh because Eddie Jacklar just retired. They just had a retirement function for him. Finished his illustrious career at Jesuit as defensive coordinator the last few years. Ryan Manali just retired, and of course that was always my favorite line in football. Down a ball, which is when he was at Rommel all those years, they're ahead by a bunch late in the game, puts in the second string guys, and a guy misses a tackle or does something stupid, and they, of course, right out of his mouth, you can hear him up in the stands. That's why you don't play.
There were plenty of times he had big leads to deal with, too.
Right side, foul. And just out of play. I admit to being a little bit biased because I saw so many games, but Jay Rothers is underrated. A high school coaches you've ever seen. Guy won 80% of his games at the highest level against the best competition. And selflessly gave up a team that was built to win a state championship. And that's not a knock on Nick Monaco. Nick did a fantastic job, but they went undefeated, won a state championship. with the team that Jay turned over. That's a strike called. It's 1-2. But there will always be that game, right? And we just celebrated Dale Weiner this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one that got away completely from Jay. 1-2 the count. Tell that story a bunch, too, because of who was involved in it. Toward left, that's hit well. Into the gap. We'll plate at least one run and probably two. All the way to the wall. This will open up this game. On his way to third. And he will be there sliding with a triple. Trey Cavity, our star of the game. He has a two-hit game. He's pitching great, and he just drove in 2 runs to make it 5-1. I think we got a very strong leading candidate there, guys.
Not quite in the clubhouse, but certainly the leader at this point, shooting one right into the gap. And like we talk about here at John Ryan, once you do that and get it to the wall, guys will be running for days all over the bases.
5-1 case for kids. Here's Camber Keller, who's walked and singled, and he shoots it foul. Infield has to come in for the play at the plate. Those runs are charged to McGee. Close the book on him. An inning with a hit, 2 runs earned, 2 walks, and a wild pitch. Hitter goes and talks to his coach.
Case for kids putting runs on the board now in 3 straight innings, and they've done it in different ways. Productive at-bats for outs, and obviously some well-hit balls in there as well.
And another runner down at third to pick up here. If they can get him home with less than 2 outs. Keller has that job. They've been great at it so far in this game. Down and out, blocked by Gedry.
And last 2 innings, they've had runner third less than 2 outs and got the ground ball. Now, in this situation, a ground ball at somebody, they're going to come home. Chances are you might be running on, might not be running on contact. I'm not sure with the infield in.
And that is a courtesy runner, Dominic Totten.
Crowds him with a fastball, 2-1. 5-1 case for kids here in the top of the 4th. These are 7-inning games. And now 3-1. More action in the bullpen for Retif.
Lefty up and throwing now. It's Harrison Sirio down there.
Shot to left. Left fielder won't get it, a base hit. That's an RBI single for it. Keller, his second hit, and his second RBI, and it's a 6-1 ball game. Still only 1 out.
Center fielder, Brady McCluskey.
Here's Brady McCluskey, who lined one for what looked like a hit to right and ended up being a force play, and then he loosed another base hit to right and scored. Took a ball. That's a strike. It's 1-1. Well, we're going to have our first 2-time champion, and at this point, starting to look like we might have a repeat champion. It is still early, but trending very well for Case for Kids. Tap foul, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Back in left side, McCluskey. 2-2. We will pick a league honor roll, an all-league team, if you will, within the coming days, as we do annually. We'll present an MVP following this game to go along with our championship and runner-up trophy. That's outside. So now it's 3-2.
I'm glad it's you two have to sort through the stats of 21 different teams to try to pick an all league.
We get some we get some help from our
3 balls, 2 strikes. Another base hit.
That's a good piece of hitting right there.
Well, how good is he? McCluskey with another rip, and it's first and second with one out.
Really ought to be 3 for 3.
No
2 for
doubt.
3, 2 for 3 with an asterisk, right?
Something like that.
Third baseman.
Bronson Lamont has been hit by a pitch, and he's grounded to
Lamont.
third. 7 hits now for K's for Kids.
And not a lot of cheapies here in the top of the fourth, to be sure.
Up ball, it's 1-0. Good swing. Ball and a strike. K's for Kids has scored in 3 consecutive innings. And trying to add some more here and really make Drake Amity's job even easier. Breaking ball hit hard to center field. Center fielder won't get there. That ball's traveling to the wall. Lamont's going to drive in 2 more. He's on his way to third. That's the 3rd triple of the game for K's for Kids. And they've opened this game up 8-1. That's some really well-struck balls. But again, another really good player with a real future at the Division I level.
It's a lot of that on this roster right now.
And Retif Oil looking for answers. We'll go to the bullpen once more.
Chan
Lefty
is
coming
done.
up. Yeah,
Was
lefty
able to
coming
get
up.
1 out before he departed. Strikeout, and otherwise it was 4 hits. And to this point, 3 runs. So we'll get another new pitcher. That's going to be Harrison Cirio, going into his sophomore season. So the left-hander Cirio will get the ball here, trying to stem the tide if at all possible. Of course, remember, it all started with consecutive walks. Again, as we repeat the same thing, this is the best team in the league, and they were the best team in prep, and you cannot give them base runners. You just can't do it.
So we've had what, an error and a hit batter and 3 walks?
5 walks total.
5 total.
Yeah.
Well, the Crusaders hoping to take on that mantle that comes with winning this league. You're supposed to play for a state championship next year.
Yeah, I said 5 walks. It's 3 walks, yeah.
So
3 walks, and of course you got the hit batter as well.
yeah, of
Now
course.
pitching
Yeah,
for Retif.
we've had 3 champions,
Number
and all 3 champions
27,
have gone on
Harrison Cirio.
to play for a state championship the next year. 22 Jesuit, 1 in 23, and 23. Butcher in the summer won as Cypress Physical Therapy, and then won the state championship a year ago, and then of course last year Case for Kids
Batter's
winning
first baseman.
the Crescent City Sports
Colton
Prep Summer League.
Elliott.
Brother Martin gets to a state championship game, loses to Catholic High, but again, it was the first time they've been to a state championship series, the first time it's been a series in 29 years. So that was a big accomplishment for them. Of course, we did that semifinal series, terrific series with Holy Cross.
Outside a ball to Colton Elliott. He's flied to center, and he's grounded out to second. You get a lefty-lefty matchup, and you have the infield in with the runner third and 1 out. That's going to be unplayable left side. Even up at a ball and a strike. Good crowd again this evening. We had a really good house here yesterday. Before the rain came, it was really crowded, and most stayed around, some departed. Of course, you had 4 schools here yesterday. All of them are well supported. Off the end of the bat on a breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Of course, happy Canada Day for those who celebrate it, but we're right near our big holiday for Independence Day, and there are a lot of folks that are starting to go on vacations and extend their week.
And that's the one thing, here it is July 1st, and we're wrapping this up.
And, he doesn't get the call. He wanted it. Serio shakes his head.
That's part of the feedback that we got from coaches, and when this got established in 2022, is they wanted to be able to be finished by the 4th of July if possible, or right around this first week of July to finish up your season.
Breaking ball, hammered foul.
Now, players get some time off. Yeah, again, you got some multi-sport guys here, so they get some downtime. Coaches get some time off. School, Ken, I know when you and I went to school, you started the school year maybe the week before Labor Day, if not sometime when I was in grammar school. I know we start after Labor Day. Now, you're starting August the 10th or thereabouts.
3-2.
And shouting out another Major League team, our good friend Emmanuel Pepis, another Met fan, celebrating Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla
Day.
He's still got 10 more years
10 more
on
years
that
of that stuff. 1.2 a year, whatever it is, yeah. Nice life if you can get it. Payoff pitch, all four. Elliott to first. Runners at the corner. Still only one out. Durant is the 9th batter of the inning. And my scorebook's going to get messed up again. I hate when they do this. That's what erasers are for, but
Catcher,
you haven't seen my handwriting.
Durand.
And you don't want to. I didn't win the penmanship contest. I did win the speed contest for typing with Don Dessau. I did win that, which kind of helped me prepare for this. Pitch missing inside and low. I don't know about you, Lenny, but I took typing, and I typed 89 words a minute.
I would
school.
have won the speed contest with Pam Mancuso teaching me. But she threatened to fail me if I didn't stop typing with 2 fingers.
Oh, you a 2-finger guy.
And at that point I was, and that's how I learned. For threat of failing the class, that's how I learned to type with 8.
I took that class, and I thought it was just a kind of a breeze class, but it turned out to be one of the most valuable things I've done.
No doubt.
It's high, and it's 2 balls.
I guess
no
they
strikes.
probably I guess it's now computer stuff now, or
correct.
Yeah, it's not. There's no
same kind of curriculum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
sure. You got a keyboard, just no typewriters.
Well, I didn't have that type of class, and as a result, I'm a 2-finger guy. So
2-0. That's into center, and it will be handled. Runner tags from third. Throw will not get there. It's a sac fly by Durand, and it's now a 9-1 game. And again, the situational hitting is off the charts by this team. And that's just, they get them on, they get them over, and they get them in. That's the 3rd run scoring without the benefit of a hit. Just playing baseball.
And in this inning, you're seeing Case for Kids hit the ball to all fields and square up a lot
Left
of baseballs.
fielder, Luke Gabb.
Don't do too much with it. Just try to make solid contact, and they've done that time and time again here in the top of the 4th.
Now Luke Gabb, who started this with a walk a long time ago, takes a strike. Snap throw to first. Runner back. Tag on the helmet. That didn't feel too good. Not intentional. He took it right on the helmet.
Getting a pat on the back there.
From Bosco. Yeah, look, these guys. I remember when I did the story 2 years ago, we were talking about it yesterday with the Rummel-Jesuit rivalry and those guys playing for 3 state championships. Talk some of the guys who played in those games in 80 and 97.
Should end the inning. Hold that thought. We have a lot of time to talk in a moment. Handled by Dugan. Inning over, but 10 men come to the plate.
In the top
in the
of
inning.
The 4th,
and 6 runs across the plate on 4 hits for the
after 3
Crusaders.
innings,
No errors. And strand 2, and they've left 4. And we head to the bottom of the 4th. And Case for Kids in total control with a 9-1 lead over Retif Oil heading to the bottom of the 4th. And today's coverage on the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League is brought to you by Gibbs Construction, a leader in the construction industry in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast for more than 45 years, transforming dreams, visions, and plans into reality. Gibbs Construction. Proceed, Mr. Van Gilder.
Yeah, but let's first of all give a shout out to Larry Gibbs. This is his favorite time of year, I know. He obviously played a big part in starting the Little League program, and in the East Bank, and they're, it's tournament time there as well. So, but to finish the story there, the one commonality I got in talking to a lot of those guys who played in 80 and 97 was we were all great friends off the field. I mean, everybody thinks it's this gigantic rivalry. When you see, and of course now you see it maybe with Jesuit and Brother Martin, or you saw it back then Rumble Jesuit, or over the years, whatever it is, okay. But these guys grew up playing together on the playgrounds. Maybe they've now in this day and age, maybe they're played on travel ball teams together.
Going to the same grammar school.
Exactly, they're all good friends, and while when they get out between the lines, certainly they want to go out and win. They're going to shake hands and hug it out when it's all over.
And you see more of that displayed publicly in our social media dominated world, congratulating one another when they're getting offers and making commitments to schools. And you see it's guys from their closest rivals oftentimes retweeting and messaging
First
and congratulating.
baseman, Joe Bosco.
Joe Bosco will bat. Bosco singled his first trip, and he hits one well here, but at McCluskey, and he'll catch that. One pitch, one out.
Another great break on the ball.
And we'll get Marshall Sirio to the plate, who grounded into a fielder's choice to end the first inning.
Sirio.
Oh, and 1.
And mentioning McCluskey again with the great jump, there's some things you just can't teach. You can put a great athlete out there, but just their ability to be able to read the game, read the ball off the bat. And that's the difference between being a capable outfielder and a special one.
No doubt.
Toward third. Cut off. Got him by a step. Good throw by Bronson Lamont. Oh, you're looking at two kids who are going to play at the next level there, McCluskey and Lamont.
No doubt. One of the things Marty Luquette was talking about last night in terms of your outfield alignment is if you got a center fielder that can play
Gavin
shallow,
Balzano.
like McCluskey is doing, you can play your corners a little bit deep. If you play your center fielder a little deep, and then maybe you play your corners a little more shallow. So that ability can change your positioning out there and what you're able to do defensively.
0-1 the count on Paul Mazzano. Flew out to right his first time.
And then there's the lateral movement of an outfielder and their speed that can allow you to stick maybe somebody out there who isn't the best athlete to try to get another bat in the lineup.
Sure.
1-1 now. Should be an easy play. Making the catch. Catanzaro and a quick 1-2-3 inning here. As Amity marches on, he continues to shine in this game. Nothing across. We've played 4, and it is 9-1. Case for Kids on top of Retif. He didn't give us time to say anything there.
No, he didn't.
Very considerate.
No, he didn't.
Well, it's supposed to be easy to pitch with a big lead, but you still have to do it. You still have to challenge hitters, and you're not afraid of getting hurt by a mistake here, so Amity's coming right after him.
A little surprised maybe that this isn't a little more tightly contested game at this point.
I'd say that about all 3 games.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You got 4 good teams.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Last night it was a case of 2 teams that just didn't pitch well.
Right. And that was, even the first game last night was a 4-2 game headed to the 7th. So that was a tight game, and Case for Kids broke it open with 5 in the top of the 7th.
Well, baseball's got that box of chocolates a la Forrest Gump
you don't
quality
know.
to it from game to game. Yeah. And a really good pitcher. Eventually he's going to have a bad day. It's just a matter of when.
Well, again, it's such an amazing game. You had a kid last night that was undefeated with less than a 1 ERA, coming off of a perfect game, and he never got an out.
Yeah.
Again,
And that's one thing. Obviously, so much is focused on the pitcher's mound because of that. You know, if one of your hitters goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, you got 8 other bats in the lineup to try to pick him up right there.
yeah. Sham went a third of an inning, 4 hits, 2 runs earned, 2 walks, a strikeout.
Designated hitter, Justin Morgan.
Justin Morgan will bat. He's driven in a run. He swings and fouls this. He's also walked and scored.
Again, like we mentioned, Case for Kids has had the leadoff man on in every inning.
Yeah, that's a lot of stress on the opposing pitcher and the opposing defense.
Yeah, constantly working out of the stretch.
Strike called. It's 0-2. I don't know about you. Every time I hear the stretch, I think of Cummings.
Still run into Jeff every once in a while. Usually in
Swinging
a
the bat, struck
grocery
him out.
store. It's like,
Yeah, I run into him as well occasionally. What a nice guy.
of course, his
Heck of a player at Tulane.
son worked at Tulane briefly
He did.
in development.
Right fielder, Luca Cannizzaro.
Luca Catanzaro has batted twice and struck out twice. Toward right center, coasting under it, 2 players, and the right fielder, Palmisano, handles it. So quickly 2 outs obtained by Serio here in the 5th inning, and that will bring Drake Amity to the plate. Well, you talk to Stretch, and it's like, of course, I was familiar with it because I was a student and watching.
Pitcher,
And they lose by
Drake
1
Amity.
to Robert Parrish and should have won the game. They were the better team, really. And Stretch played Robert Parrish to the standoff. He was really good against him. Pitch missing away for a ball.
Fouled out late, as I recall, or was it Parrish that fouled out?
Parrish fouled out late.
Yeah.
Yep. 1-0. Out of play. It's 1-1. Not going to name names, but to this day, some of the guys playing in that game were like, why did he take the last shot? And I'll leave it at that. That team had a lot of really good players. Gary Baracco, Gordon Blundell, Jeff Cummings. Tap foul. And what's really funny is you fast forward 6 years, and then you got Wade Blundell, and you have Barry Baracco as the family trying to continue. The only difference was they finished it and won 2 in a row. 49 straight. Missing away, and it's 2-2. That's always a fun conversation about the best teams you've seen. 2-2 pitch. Missing down and in 3-2. We're on the Sugar Bowl committee, and Andy Russo is going to be honored soon. Andy had that first team with the school merger between St. Aloysius and Coriezu, and that was a great team. Ball 4. So Amity was 2 for 2 with a walk, and he's pitched a great game. I think I know who you're talking to after the game.
I think it could be.
Camber Keller has singled twice and walked, and he's driven in 2, and he'll bat. And Amity's had a courtesy runner all night because he keeps getting on base.
But the only thing Amity hasn't done is run the bases. Now, he ran him for a triple, but that was. But as soon as play stops, he's getting subbed out for a courtesy run.
Yeah, he had to leg on a triple earlier. Right about now, he's saying, "Come on, man, can somebody get me out?" Here's Keller. Swing and a miss. That team was awesome. Skippy Brunet,
Camber Keller.
Dale Valdery, Tommy Smith, Glenn Mason. Oh my goodness, there was some great Brother Martin team. And then 4 years later, they had the Roby team. Down in the pitch, and the throw to second will not be in time. That'll be a wild pitch. So that's a wild pitch getting Amity to, or rather the courtesy runner to second base. One and one. Crowds him. It's 2-1.
It's one of the of course, we just came from Natchitoches, and you mentioned the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall
That
of
ball's
Fame.
hit well to left field. Long run. He's not going to get that ball. That's gone to the wall. Another run crosses the plate. A ringing RBI double by Gamber Keller. And it's a 10-1 ball game. May have been some really well-struck balls in this game by Case for Kids. Very, very impressive. Now you get McCluskey. Have fun. 2 for 3 officially. Should be 3 for 3.
McCluskey.
Scored twice. It's a big run at second in the grand scheme because of this being a title game, and it's a 9-run lead. Strike called. It's 0-1.
So we've been talking about leadoff runners getting on for Case for Kids. 2-out runner now coming around.
Breaking ball sits high. 1-1 on McCluskey. Over but low. Pretty good movement, but a dip low, and McCluskey laid off, and it's 2-1. Case for Kids has scored in every inning but the first. Now up 10-1. Good cut. And it's 2-2. He's got a quick bat. Very short to the ball.
A good uncomplicated swing. Let your hands do the work if needed. That's what you look for.
Calls time.
In a good situation for him here, getting, a lot of times you don't, especially in high school, you don't see a lot of left-handed pitchers. Get some left-on-left looks.
2-2. Laid off of a tough pitch away. 3-2. And it's away, and he's on again. So McCluskey trots to first, and you think you pitched around him. Now you deal with Lamont. He tripled deep earlier to drive in 2. We'll try to do so here.
Third baseman, Bronson Lamont.
Here's Lamont.
Just watching Jeff Lupo down there coaching at third base and coaching like it's a 0-0 game at this point still. Taking advantage of every opportunity.
Here's Lamont. In the air, should end the inning. First baseman, second baseman calls him off, and making the catch. The lad over the shoulder to end the frame. But a run crosses the plate. And it happens on a hit.
1 run.
No errors and 2 men
one
stranded.
hit.
6
In the
men
top
left
of the
on
fifth.
base. Let's take a stretch from
After 4
John Ryan. We
one-half
go to the bottom of the
innings,
5th, and Case for Kids
Case
in
for
control.
Kids,
10-1 over Retif Oil.
Retif Oil 1.
And we want to remind you that today's coverage of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League is brought to you by the Lamarck Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarck Pre-Owned has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes and models. We have great deals. Must be a reason.
Well, the New Orleans Sports Committee voting, as we look back on the past prep year, the boys prep team of the year, and the car football. Goes without
Absolutely.
saying, right? And then on the girls' side, Slidell volleyball.
Yep.
Other teams, Lenny, that deserve some recognition here for a great season in the past 12 months.
It was like some of the, I thought, obviously we had some depth on the football side with multiple state championships in the area. Certainly what Archbishop Shaw accomplished and how quickly Hank Tierney has turned that program around back to where it, where he had it in the, the 80s and 90s, winning a state championship. Carr was clearly the best team. Maybe the best story was South Plaquemines, though. I don't know if you may agree with that, Ken. That was, that was what they were able to accomplish. Getting back to the Dome and winning a title for the first time in almost 2 decades. We mentioned Shaw, and of course, we've shown the state bowling championships on Crescent City Sports now since 2019. Their performance on the lanes now the last 2 years with 2 back-to-back undefeated seasons in the new Division II on the boys' side.
Austin Guidry.
They certainly have an outstanding team as well. Look, you've got so many great teams out there. Look, I know Brother Martin didn't win a state championship this year, but they had an outstanding year getting to a title game for the first time in 29 years.
Guidry takes a strike. Austin Guidry struck out his first time. Oh, one from Amity. Breaking ball hit to center. McCluskey will coast under this one. One gone.
We tend to overlook those Olympic sports in a discussion, but in a lot of cases it is many of the same schools that are in the running year after year. They are the dominant programs there.
St. Augustine, Country Day, basketball, great stuff.
Yeah. On the girls' side, Country Day volleyball, what they've been able to accomplish under Julie Ibieta.
Strike called, 0-1. Mike McGuire's got a young team. Good luck with that moving back. We have to get that Christmas tournament back this coming year. Ground ball to second. Throw him out at first, so 2 gone. That's 6 in a row retired by Amity, who's unquestionably been the star of this game.
I'm going back and looking here. I mean, he's thrown 2 1/3 innings this summer, okay? He threw 12 1/3 innings in the prep season. Was 0-2. And yet he's going out and, he looks like a guy who could be a top of the rotation guy for Jeff Lupo next year.
Look at that breaking ball. Sharp and a strike. Look, he's really good. They've got so much depth. Their program is stacked with classes, and everybody's told us that. And it shows. Look at that. Another sharp slider, and it's 0-2. No problem at all. Keep in mind, last night, Amity was on 3 times. He singled, walked twice, drove in a run, scored a run. He's just been terrific. Took a ball here. Played second base last night. 1-2 the count. Sometimes it's hard to pick a player. And despite all the great performances tonight, by Case for Kids, it's this guy, number 1. Ooh, just missed over below. Same slider. It's 2-2. And by the way, this is Logan Nelson batting. So Nelson taking the at-bat here. The Jesuit, Logan Nelson, who played last night. And he struck him out with a heater. Boy, he's good. I mean, that's just perfect placement. Even the ball is where he wanted it. As good as it gets. Sharp as tack. 7 in a row he has set down. And we played 5 in the championship game of Year 4 of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. And Case for Kids in total command by the score of 10-1.
Lenny, you referenced it as far as now having to play series all the way to try to win a state championship. You need pitching depth. If you have 3 really good starters and at least a couple of relievers you can rely upon, you're going to have an edge on a lot of different programs. And what we've seen from Brother Martin this summer, boy, they have the makings of that kind of staff.
Well, I like the rule change, Ken. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's, it didn't make a lot of sense to me that you're playing best of 3. It used to be, a couple around like the second and third round, and then you get to the first round, state single elim, and semis and finals were 1 game. Yeah. I think you find out who the best team is over the course of a 3-game series. You can, one team can have that, that one good pitcher, and depending on how it lines up, especially in some of the lower classifications where they do still play the one, lines up right, you space it out and, save some innings here and there, and you might be able to throw your same guy all 5 games trying to get to a state championship.
It's a split decision for me. There's something to be said about 1 game for it all, and the drama of it all is terrific. But you do get the best team result, and every single time this comes up, we harken back to what happened in 2023, because Catholic was ranked number 1 in the nation, and they ran into Giancarlo Arancibia on one day and got beat. And the happiest guy in America was Kenny Goodland.
You're invited to stay
with all due respect, he got to play Rummel. And even though Brady Schmidt 3-hit Jesuit, he lost 1-0, and Jesuit won the state championship. Point being, and I'm not saying Rummel wouldn't have beaten Catholic a second time, But in a 3-game series, there's a real chance that the Catholic team would have come back. And
Well,
they've
certainly, but
they've
again,
dominated, that level since then.
Right.
Strike call.
Now, if you
Credit to
get a
Brad
1-0,
Bass.
if you get
Brad
a
Bass has
1-0
done a
lead,
great
yeah,
job.
no doubt. If you get a 1-0 lead in a best of 3, maybe you're the perceived underdog. That's still, you're putting pressure on that favorite team.
1-1. Jeff Lupo had to avoid that one. Said, come on, don't hit your coach. I didn't say anything bad. I'm hitting you cleanup. What are you mad at me for? Come on, Cole.
Swing sooner.
The field is that way. And look how he's
Went
going
that
his
way.
coach again.
Over his head that time.
Right about now, Lupo better back up 4 or 5 steps.
Oh.
Well, we broadcast the series, speaking of Aaron Seabee, what Bird and Rummel. And Aaron Seabee and Rummel shocked 1-0 in the first game. But Rummel was the better team, and they proved it over the next 2 games. Just many examples of that, and I think that's what baseball's all about. It's not a sport built for one-offs.
Right.
Game 3s like Game 7s. I think just like in the college game, hey, everybody remembers Warren Morris, greatest college game ever played in the championship. Wouldn't have been that way if it was the best of 3.
Line drive base hit to right field. Golden Elliott says, all right, coach, I'm not going to hit one toward you. I'm going the other way.
But we're crowning the truer champion doing it that way with the 3-game series.
Elliott aboard with nobody out. Tyler Durant bats. He has a sacrifice fly. He's flying out, grounded out.
Catcher, Tyler Duran.
On the flip side, in basketball, college level, high school level, you're playing one-offs. Unlike the pros, truer champion, so to speak.
Pitch is high for ball 1. Want to know the count? Foul bat, 1-1. Ball and a strike.
And without series, Ken, we don't get one of your favorite calls times 2. We'll see you tomorrow night.
What's tomorrow night anyway? I'm just thinking about it. No, that's okay.
No,
Oh, yeah, you got a radio show. There you go. You got a radio show. 106.7 The Ticket, Jude Young.
right.
6 to
At
7.
6 p.m.
Not to be confused
6 to
with
7
anybody
p.m.
named Buck. Correct.
From 6 to 7 every weeknight except for Tuesdays and other nights and whatever the hell's going on. All right. Here we go. 1-1 pitch. And squeezed a changeup. It's 2-1.
Well, whenever I'm penciled into the lineup, I show up.
Just show up.
Got to take the ball when it's handed to you.
Take the ball.
Right?
Run with it. 2-1 the count. 3-1. Pitch missing away. Yeah, and look, big shout out and thanks to Pat Galloway for letting us promote Crescent City sports faithfully every day on a consistent basis on Cumulus Radio and, of course, 106.7 The Ticket. 3-1. That is a strike. It's 3-2. See if they start the runner up. 10-1, probably not. Three balls and 2 strikes. And it stays that way. Easy play for Lupo, and he handles it with the right hand. Way to go, Jeff. Another moment here to thank Kenny Goodlett, who's made all of this possible here this evening. A good and great friend of mine. He also happens to be my neighbor. And he's a terrific coach, a really good person, and he was welcoming, and we're here thanks to him and courtesy of his hard work here tonight. That's a line drive up the middle, another base hit. Well, you're getting a pretty good indication of how good this team is. And remember, they graduated what? Look at the list there, guys. Ryan Dara, Arizona State. Stan Wiltz, UNO. Cole Navarro, UNO. Jude Tingstrom, Delgado. Egan Prather, Loyola. Cody Kropp, Shelton State. Those guys just graduated, and look at what they've got here. That's a program. They've got it rolling.
And you want to start looking ahead a bit to 2026. Like I said, there's only 4 seniors out there right now. Okay, on that team. 3 of them are pitchers, so you're talking about 1 everyday player. So not only could these guys be set up for next year, but you got to look ahead to the following year as well.
Luke Gabb showing bunt, and that's a wild pitch. Won't have to bunt now. Runners to second at third with nobody out. Gabb had that big booming triple earlier in the game. He's
The
also
batter
walked
is
and
left
scored.
fielder Luke Gabb.
Now for Retif, what do you do here? And again, like you mentioned, you got to bring the infield in. This isn't a walk-off situation because Case for Kids is the visiting team.
Right.
But you can't let the run score.
Nope, mercy rule is in effect. Pitch missing away, it's 2-0. You just don't expect that in a championship game.
Well, last night was the first time we've had the mercy rule in 4 years of the playoffs. Could be on the verge of another.
Never would have expected it. There is a ball, so it's 3-0 to Gabb. Pretty good pitch. Didn't get the call. Kind of takes the drama out of it. Hopper on Kale's going out to the bullpen for Retif Oil. 3-0, and it's 3-1.
Nonetheless, delighted for Case for Kids, backing up their credentials as being the best team in this league, certainly showing it on the biggest stage.
Well on their way to being 11-0 this year. 3-1. Missed away, walked him, bases loaded with nobody out for Justin Morgan, who's walked, scored, grounded out to drive in a run, and struck out. And we'll get a visit to the mound, and that might be all for Sirio. We shall see. Maybe not. As we mentioned last night, we want to reiterate the whole playoff structure here. We mandated before the season that you had to play 10 games. There were 15 scheduled in most cases, and we thought that was fair. But we had no idea that nearly 40% of the games would be impacted by rain. And the one team that did not play 10 games was Case for Kids. So we had to make a decision about that. They made every effort to play.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They made efforts to play, got one game rained out, in the second inning, I think it was. They got 2 games rained out down in the Bayou on a day when everybody else played. It just happened to rain in the Houma Thibodeau area where it didn't rain in New Orleans. So, yeah, it's certainly not their fault, but a rule is a rule.
So they didn't make the 10-game mark that we had set aside, and what we opted to do is, and we talked to the other coaches, we opted to assign them a 10th game, which was a loss, to qualify them for the playoffs. Otherwise, they would not have been eligible to play. And every coach agreed they belonged here. They didn't lose a game on the field. And let me just compliment Jeff Curtis, Kenny Goodland, and Frank Kazar. They all agreed to that being the case. The real record for Case for Kids is 10-0. Yeah. And they're on their way to being 11-0 here, obviously.
Well, just, a week and a half into the
Designated
season this
hitter,
year, we were thinking about maybe
Justin
changing the name of the
Morgan.
league to the Crescent City Sports Prep Swimming League.
Something
yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
See if Justin Morgan can deliver. Infield has to come in with nobody out. Took it low, 1-0. Correspond with Dad all the time. Great guy. The Morgans are really good people, and covered Trey for 4 years of him playing varsity baseball.
Trey had his first AAA home run the other night.
Taps it foul, and it is 1-1.
He's battling,
that.
yeah, battling a little bit of an injury, I guess. Missed a couple of weeks there. You know what's interesting, though, how convenient did this work out that Durham was at Omaha the same week as the College World Series.
Imagine
now, back in the day when it was at Rosenblatt, of course,
Wouldn't have
Omaha had to
happened.
leave town for like 3 weeks, but
Right.
now they play in 2 different ballparks.
Correct. 1-1 pitch, breaking ball strike, 1-2.
The Storm Chasers, formerly the Royals, now play in Papillion in the suburbs.
1-2 the count. Spent many a day at Rosenblatt. Used to go there, 1.4 times a year back in the old association days. How to play right side. Got to know it intimately, and Barricade can tell you about the 38-inch prime rib.
Or ounce.
38 ounce. There you go. 1-2 the count.
When you think about it, 38 ounces, 38 inches, probably equates.
Might be.
It's
a
2-2.
lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Do yourself a favor and go to the best restaurant in the world, the Burn Steakhouse in Tampa. It is by far the best
You've
restaurant.
said that many times.
in
Oh,
America.
see, I
It's
thought-
not
well,
even close.
I thought you were gonna.
Not even close.
Thought you were gonna bring up the Drover in Omaha when you started talking.
No,
about
there's nothing like this, trust me. Right side, and if you don't believe me, ask anybody that has been there. They will tell you the exact same thing. Greg Sue took us there with the Saints in '84, and we were blown away, and we've gone back every time possible. And every time I made a trip there, or a road trip there, took everybody with us. You could start naming a bunch of names, and they would all, that's all you ever hear from, like Brandon Rizzuto and John Norris. Could name them all. Like, when are we going back to Burns? I've never had anything like that, ever. And you never will. You got to make a reservation about 3 months in advance. Breaking ball to right. That's trouble. That's going to do damage. Into the corner. 1 run is home. 2 runs are home. It's a 2-run double. And Case for Kids now up 12-1. And Justin does Trey proud. Talk about delivering the goods. Extra base hit bonanza here. 3 triples, 2 doubles for Case for Kids. Putting on quite a hitting exhibition. 12 hits in this ballpark, which is hard to hit it, frankly.
So many hits up the middle and opposite field hits. It's a big reason why.
Pinch hitter about to step to the plate, but first we're going to have a pitching change. So, get a look at the 5th Retif pitcher of the evening.
Yep. Another left-hander. Looks like Harper on Kale, who was throwing in the bullpen. It is. So Harper on Kale, the sophomore coming on. And, oh, by the way, still nobody out in the inning.
Wow.
For what it's worth in a 12-1 game, and yes, the mercy rule is in effect. Moncale will do his level best to try to keep this the way it is.
Number 21, Harper Oncal.
Moncale will finish his warm-up tosses, and he'll be dealing with Cannizzaro as play resumes.
It's going to be Nunez. Hayden Nunez is going to be a pinch hitter here. So
Well, Hayden
he was
started
about to
last
step,
night.
yeah, about to step to the plate, and all of a sudden, big pitching change first. So.
Nunez will get the opportunity. Hayden had a 2-run single in the game last night against Malcolm Dinas.
Guess we should shout out our crew for helping us broadcast
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Matt Merritt, our producer. We've got Sam Tornatore and Pearson Morgan bringing you all the pictures this evening. Appreciate them being out here. Look, it's we're working out of the auxiliary space here at the John Ryan Stadium because we come in here with a lot of folks, and look, it's it's 104 heat index for them too, running camera.
If there's anything you don't like about the broadcast, trust me, it's Matt's fault.
To the pitcher, look the runner back, wheel and deal. Onkel gets the out. 1 gone. Nunez on 1 pitch retired. Amity will bat for himself. He singled, tripled home 2, walked. His spot is scored all 3 times in a lineup, and he has a chance to add
Pitcher,
to this.
Drake Amity.
And there's nobody in the bullpen. He's clearly going to finish it.
So a chance for a different kind of insurance runs to be added.
Help your own cause. You don't get to use that often. And
To the plate, and he is safe at home on a wild pitch. And it's 13-1. Another runner to third.
I play a little closer than it first appeared.
yeah, it was like you got a slow break there, and just but he got the hand in ahead of the tag.
Way outside, 2-0. Way inside and low, so now 3-0. Amity says, yeah, I'll be glad to take a walk so I don't have to run anymore. I do have to trot the first. He's had a runner in all 3 at-bats. May very well have a runner in a 4th at-bat. And may well do some talking here shortly. And he is on for the 4th straight time. So you look at the series he's had. He's batted 8 times. He's been on base 7 times, Lenny. They got him out 1 time in 2 nights. So, and that's just his offense. Dominic Toten will run for him again. His pitching, he's got a 1-hitter going. By the way,
Dominic Toten
in 5
at
innings,
first base.
Amity has thrown 49 pitches, guys.
Wow. That explains a lot of why he's still out there.
Keller rips one toward the gap. That's going to keep going. That's going to score 2 more. Keller's on his way to second. He's going to stop there with a 2-run double. Keller's got a 5 RBI game.
I was about to say.
If you want to add him too, feel free to do so.
Right.
So Keller with another 2-run double.
Rising sophomore, too. So he's got 3 more seasons in crimson and gold.
Center fielder, Brady McCluskey.
Now McCluskey. McCluskey, 2 hits, a walk, another that should have been a hit. Took a strike. $15-1 now. And it's 1-1. Breaking ball, laid off.
Sorry. Jeff Lupo might call Lamont back and give some other guys a shot here to hit.
Probably a good idea, given the circumstances. 1-2 is way outside. It's 2-2. Still just 1 out of the inning with 5 runs home. 2-1-6-1-5. That's the inning recap for Case for Kids since the first inning when they put up a 0. Sounds like winning numbers or something of that nature. And it will be winning numbers. Taps it foul right at his feet on a breaking ball. And Camber Keller is now 4 for 4 with a walk, 5 RBI. 2 singles, 2 doubles in this game. Down and out. Last night against Malcolm Diaz, he was 0 for 3.
Yeah. Amity wears 1, Keller wears 2. So, in other words, it's been a pretty good 1-2 punch.
Something like that. Payoff toward first. Unassisted to the bag. Bosco. Runner advances to third. With 2 outs. Get McCluskey out, but still a productive out. Now we'll get a new hitter. As Lenny alluded to, Dominic Jabbia will get the bat, the sophomore.
Batting is number 17, Dominic Jabbia.
There's Jabbia. Swings at the first one. It's 0-1.
2 for 4 in the summer, even 500. 800 on base percentage, though. Wow.
That'll work.
He's been walked 4 times, hit twice. Ken, we're going to abandon you after this half inning and go get ready for
Child foul.
post-game.
It is 0-2. Then we'll have an awards presentation, interview, winning coach, start of the game, / MVP.
Yeah, we'll get some others in there, certainly.
Well, kind of hard to ignore Keller with a 4 for 4, 5 RBI night.
No doubt. No doubt.
Pretty special. I'll have a game story for you later at CrescentCitySports.com. Go with the video of the game. Thanks to Lenny for taking care of that last night. I was having some computer issues.
Mm-hmm. Technical difficulties. We've solved those. Thanks to Jude for recording sportscasts. Off the plate, 2-2. Towards second should end the inning. Delat to first, and it mercifully ends for Retif. But 9 men come to the plate in the inning for K's for Kids. They score 5 runs in the inning on 4 hits. No errors, 2 left. They've stranded 8. We go to the bottom of inning number 6, and
5 runs.
Retif Oil needs 5 runs to keep the game alive. It's 15-1. K's for Kids in total command of this game.
K's for Kids, 15.
And they will send Amity back out there to try to finish this off. Why not? He deserves it with the way he's pitched in this game. So he'll head to the mound to try to polish this one off in grand fashion with the way he's performed here this evening. Amity, only 49 pitches as mentioned. Ready to finish this one off. As Case for Kids has just been terrific tonight in all phases of the game. A harbinger of things to come for this program with the players they've got and what they've been able to do. So here in the 6th inning, Griffin Gendron will lead it off. Gendron has walked and scored, fly to right. As he stands in.
The batter is number 12, Roman Lare.
So Lare is going to bat. Roman Lare will get the at-bat for Gendron. Lare takes a strike. 50th pitch of the game is right through there. It's 0-1. Roman Lare getting the opportunity here. Sophomore, 6'2", 175. Over the pitcher's head. Tough chance. Second baseman surrounds it. Gloves it. Throws across the body. Safe at first. Should be an infield hit for Roman Lare. He was beating it down the line. Would have taken a perfect play to get him. That would only be the second hit of the game if indeed a hit is granted here. We're still debating it. But a good job by Lare. They're going to give him an error and say no hit.
Baseman,
tough error.
Derek Delat.
First error of the game. And now Derek Delat. Yeah, I would have given him a hit, personally. Delat takes a strike. It's 0-1. Delat is grounded out, walked. Oh, 1. Toward the pitcher, comes to get it. The play will be to first. Takes the out, 1 gone. 2 more to get. Here's Michael Brothers, who's grounded out twice. Here's Brothers. And a fastball over, but just
The
high.
batter is center fielder Michael Brothers.
1-0 to Brothers. That's right through there. It's 1-1. One and one the count. And now 2-1. Two balls and a strike, runner second, one out. And another pitch fouled. It's 2-2. Two balls, two strikes. Outside 3-2. So 3-2 the count. Hasn't had deep counts like this much. Up the middle or short. Got to come get it. Glove it. Throw it. And got him at first. Boy, that's a bang-bang play. Called him out. Could have gone either way. It is the second out. It's a good play by Keller. And now one out to get Joe Bosco to the plate.
First baseman, Joe Bosco.
So here's Bosco. Inside, 1-0. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Ball and a strike. Foul back, and now, Case for Kids is one strike away from repeating as champion of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now it's 2-2, and that ball is going to get away, and the run's going to score. So it's 15-2. An error leads to a run. A wild pitch plates him. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Out of play. Remains 2-2. Choo-choo. And stays alive. Bosco battling to keep the game alive. And he walked. No, it's ball 3. Pardon me. 3-2. Bosco with a good at-bat here, regardless of the outcome. Fouling off pitches with 2 strikes, taking one that was a tough pitch there. So now it's 3-2, and here's a payoff pitch, and he walked him. So Amity scuffling a bit here. Issues his 3rd walk. And extends the game for Marshall Serio, who's grounded out twice.
Marshall Serio.
Stands in. And another ball. No one throwing in the Crusader bullpen. Got one in there. It's 1-1. Liner in the left, and that is over his head. That should score another run, and it will. This should be a triple. On his way to third, and standing with a triple is Marshall Serio. And it's now 15-3. They're not done yet. Serio comes through with a big triple and an RBI. And that will get Gavin Palmisano to the plate.
Right fielder, Gavin Palmisano.
And it's 0-1. Now 0-2, and once again, Case for Kids a strike away. And now 1-2. Rope down the left field side. Holds it 1-2. 15-3, Case for Kids. Bullpen's going to go get somebody up just in case for Kids. Amity really scuffling here in the seventh after he's pitched so well. Here it comes. Way outside, 2-2. Second time he's had a hitter with 2 strikes, trying to finish it. Couldn't do it earlier. Struck him out swinging. Greg Amity is able to finish it with a strikeout, and that's the ball game. And we have a champion. It is Case for Kids who win the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League 15-3 over Retif Oil here this evening. What a performance by Case for Kids. They showed you why they're such a complete team in every aspect. Totally dominant. Handshakes all around for each team. A lot of friends on these two clubs. Know each other extremely well. The totals of the ball game, it's 15 runs, 13 hits, 1 error, and 8 left for Case for Kids. It's 3 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 3 left for Retif Oil. The winning pitcher is Drake Amity. Goes the distance, 6 innings, 3 runs, only 1 of those earned on just 2 hits. He walked 3 in the game, and he struck out 4 to get the win. He had 2 wild pitches. Loser, Bo Matalewski, 2:01 the time of game. And now we'll check in with Lenny Van Gilder and Jude Young down on the field.
"21 teams started the Crescent City Sports Summer League the day after Memorial Day, and here we are 5 weeks later, down to 2. Only 1 could be a winner this evening. We start by handing out our runner-up trophy for our 4th annual league. They were not only our runner-up, but they were a gracious host of our postseason these last 2 nights. Congratulations to Retif Oil, based at Jesuit High School, and a very special thanks to Coach Kenny Goodlett for being our host here this week. K's for Kids scored 24 runs over the course of 2 games. It was hard to identify one player. When your scorecard gets a little crazy over the course of 2 games, it's hard to identify one player, but there can only be one MVP of this championship series. He not only reached base 7 out of 8 times in 2 games, but then went out and pitched a complete game for his team this evening. Drake Amity, our MVP. Should mention Jude Young, the co-owner and COO of Crescent City Sports, is making all the awards presentations. We knew coming into tonight that one of these teams would be a 2-time champion of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League for the first time. They're not only a 2-time champion, they're a back-to-back champion. Congratulations to our 2025 champions, K's for Kids. Jeff Lupo joins us now. Coach, you never know what you're going to get every night you come to the ballpark. I'm sure you weren't expecting a run rule victory tonight, but you guys delivered in all aspects of the game this evening.
Yeah, it was a really complete game. I'm really proud of these guys. They've lived up to the standard that these guys set for them this year, and they put a lot of pressure on people, and they've kind of embraced the challenge that's presented to them, and I'm extremely proud of them.
We talked last year about the precedent had been set over the first 3 years of the league, where the winner of the league goes on and does great things in the spring next year. How does this format allow you to get ready for next year, and how much do you feel what you did last summer kind of set the tone for what you were able to do this spring?
Well, I think it gives us an opportunity, all of us coaches, an opportunity to evaluate guys in a pressure situation, in a really competitive environment against good teams in a league that matters, and every time you take the field in our district and in this league, it's personal because you're playing against guys that you know. And I'm really proud of the way our guys attacked it, and it kind of springboards them. It now sets the level of what's expected of them to come in the future. So I'm really proud of them.
So you only had 4 guys come up there with you. Those are the 4 guys who are going to be seniors next year. Usually you're thinking a bigger number of those, but that certainly bodes well as well that you only got 4 seniors on your 2016.
Yeah, we've only got 4 seniors, but we've got a bunch of guys. I'm really proud of them from the way they led this group. But all 10 of the guys that are coming back have been with us for 3 and 4 years now, so they know the standard that has been set, what it's expected, and they're going to accept the challenge day in and day out.
Okay, we'll catch up with some of your guys to talk to, and we'll do that. We'll do that separately. So Ken, we'll send it back up to you. And again, thanks to everyone. Thanks to our host at Jesuit. Thanks to Frank Cazzo at Archbishop Rummel for everything he does for this league. And thanks to these 2 teams for, playing very well all season long and getting to this stage tonight. Ken?
All right. Thank you very much, Lenny. We'll check back in with you with 1 or 2 of our stars of the game here momentarily as the K's for Kids team based at Brother Martin wins it by the score of 15-3 to capture the championship of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League for the second time and for the second consecutive year. Our first 2-time champion. I'll take pictures right now, and then we'll get a couple of interviews done in the process. And they finished this season 11-0. Speaks volumes about the quality of the team, about the nature of the program, about who they are and why they are who they are. Pretty special, to say the least, and just an outstanding performance by an outstanding team. Really outstanding. So, I've used that word several times, but there's little else to say about the way this team plays. They catch the ball well, they throw it well, they pitch it well, and they sure do hit the ball, and they've got a young team, as mentioned, so they're going to have to be dealt with for many years to come with the way this program is stacked up. And as for Retif Oil, that's a really good team, really good program, and Jesuit-based Retif Oil will go on and play in the American Legion tournament, and I want to wish them nothing but success in that venture. They still do that as the one school that does, and they care very much about that as they care about this league. And once again, we want to thank Kenny Goodlett. Just a brilliant job done here by his staff to put this on in conjunction with our guys and what we do. and Frank Hazzo, as mentioned, who conceived this idea and has helped make this happen every step of the way. Just envision this, and it's turned out to be exactly what we hoped it would be, which is competition, development, really good performances, and people that are totally invested. That's what we hoped for. That's what we wished for. That's what we wanted, and that's what we're getting out of the Crescent City Sports Prep Summer League. Just outstanding stuff from both sides. And again, 11-0 on the season. Tells you everything you need to know about this Case for Kids team and why they turned out to be that team. They just did it every step of the way and never blinked and handed Retif Oil their only losses of the season. I mean, that's the only team they lost to. Retif Oil finished with a record of 12-2. And again, when you are able to play the kind of baseball that this team plays on a consistent basis, you're going to win a lot of games. And that's exactly what we saw here in this performance by Case for Kids here this evening. And we're going to keep doing this, folks. We have 4 years running now, and we have 21 schools that participated this year. And that's pretty special to see that. It gives you some sort of idea about the participation we've had, the way people feel about this whole concept, and the way we feel about it. It's been a hit, and I don't mind saying that and bragging about it because it has been, and it's because of the people that have made it that, and that's the coaches and the players of the respective schools and the administrations and our staff and Coach Cazzo and his staff that draw up the schedule and help administrate this, and the umpires who are willing to work in the heat during the summer like this for our league. All of those things are part and parcel of what we've been able to do here with this league, and it's accomplishing everything we set out to accomplish from the start. And this was the culmination of it. We didn't have the kind of games we expected with regard to the one-sided games we saw in this playoff situation, but that's just the way it worked out. You had 4 really good teams, and you just had teams that didn't play particularly well in individual games, which was not a reflection of the way they played all season long. It was just one of those situations where teams played not as well as they were capable of playing, and then one team in particular played lights out. And that was Case for Kids, based at Brother Martin High School. And again, the Brother Martin players are still gathered around their coach, which is why we're waiting to get stars of the game here. So they are still doing so. And as soon as we get them situated, we will talk with them. And again, a salute to Jesuit High School, not only for reaching the championship game here, but also for doing such a great job hosting this and giving us the opportunity to be here and produce this and do it once again. Just really, really special. We're very grateful for Jesuit High School and for Coach Kenny Goodlett and the whole administration of Jesuit for what they've done here. So thanks to Jesuit High School for, again, making this an outstanding venture once again, and we sure hope that it's going to stay that way for many years to come. I promise you we'll be back with it next year. As, again, Case for Kids has won this by the score of 15-3 here this evening. Always a reminder to go to CrescentCitySports.com. That's where you're going to find everything on a day-to-day basis, everything sports imaginable. And right now, Lenny Van Gilder is securing our stars of the game. We'll get them in place, and we'll get them to join us here on the post-game show. We're going to get pictures, and then we'll get them to talk to us as well as we get them in place here at John Ryan Stadium. This facility opened in 2012. We were here for the opening game, and we're here now, and we're thankful. So Lenny's just going to do an interview himself, so that's all good, and we appreciate what he's done. We appreciate what Jude Young has done as well, and we'll see if we can get Jude in here for a final word or two here momentarily before we close things out. So we'll get Jude in here for 1 minute, and then we'll be able to close things out as well. So, again, 15-3, the final score here. in this game this evening. And we'll get Jude on for a minute or two here. Just a final thought or two, Jude. I know Lenny's doing video interviews right now, but just a final thought or two about what we saw here this evening.
Well, we saw a dominating performance by a very talented and still young Case for Kids squad, and Jeff Lupo and company have a lot to be proud about. What they've done this summer, what they did this past prep season going to the state championship series and Division I Select, and the future is so bright for them. I mean, the expectations are going to be sky high, and that desire to finally grab a state championship, well, it's on at this point. They're already on a mission, and we got to wait for the spring to see if they can pull it off, but we can certainly savor what they did this summer.
Well, we want to thank Lenny Van Gilder. Job well done. Thanks to Marty Luquette as well. And Jude, it's great having you here tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Even though it wasn't the game we expected, it's always nice to be out here doing this.
No doubt about it. It's great to see all these teams get the opportunity for the past few weeks to get the work in towards the future and become better baseball players, and to be a small part of that is special.
Thank you, Jude. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank our crew for doing such a great job here tonight, and thanks to all of our sponsors for helping make it happen. Once again, our final score here tonight, Case for Kids 15, Retif Oil 3. For Jude Young, for Lenny Van Gilder, for our entire crew here at CrescentCitySports.com, I'm Ken Trahan, saying thank you for joining us, and be a good sport. Go to CrescentCitySports.com, read the story, watch the game again, and read every story we have each and every day at CrescentCitySports.com. Be a good sport, and God bless you all. Rounding third and heading home. So long.